it's interesting to hear y'all talk about it. But I tried to go in and adjust some of my stocks today and got locked out of it. So I have to go home and reset my password. But yeah, stocks are not fun. It's not a fun thing to do. Right now, I'm looking at getting in some of my money into a 403b through school, and it's not a fun thing to have to research. Okay, so we're going through today, which probably shouldn't take too much time. Understanding soils. I did skip section 5.4 on here. I will, when we do like the bigger tests, I will take those questions out. It just wasn't something I wanted to go through today. Sorry. I think soils, it's a little bit more appropriate. I like soils. I like talking about soils. And around here, whether you know somebody that is or not, we've got a lot of farmers around here. Got a lot of soil. It's important soil. It's kind of the economy of Palmer, if you will. That and maybe police giving out tickets on I-45. That's another large portion of the economy. But yeah, soils is a big deal. So we're going to go through soils. We're going to talk about how we talk about soils, what they're made of, how we understand them, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we will do assignments, and then possibly Friday might be a free day. We'll see how that goes. But I will not be here Thursday. Just so you know, I will not be here. The multiple choice assignment will be on Thursday, so you should have a nice, easy assignment to go through when the sub's here. When you get done with that, find something quietly to do. They will have instructions on what you should be doing and should not be doing. But I just want to let y'all know that I will have a sub in on Thursday. So starting off, talking about soil, getting our hands dirty in the mud. What is soil? Soil is going to be a mixture of inorganic and organic material. What do you think the inorganic stuff is from soil? It's rocks. It's weathered down rocks, really, really tiny pieces of rocks. If you're talking about soil, a lot of the times it's clay minerals, although sometimes you can have other stuff in there. Clay minerals is something that you want in your soils. Let me see real quick. We'll talk about this later. I'll see if it's here or not. One of the most complex, maybe not the most complex, but it is kind of difficult to understand. One of the most difficult maps I've ever had to deal with is a soil map. Not a map. It's like a chart, and it's a triangle chart. Have you ever seen a triangle chart? No. It has 3 different axes, and they all intersect at weird angles. And you have to use your brain to figure out where like the line should go. But the soil map is kind of complex and makes you think about it a little bit. So the inorganic parts of soil are rocks. What are the organic parts of soil? Dead material, dead plant material. Decomposed plants, decomposed trees, decomposed living animals. Whatever's going to decompose, that's going to add to your soil. That's going to help enrich it, give it more minerals. And so that's what we're looking for. So they start to talk about the inorganic part. Like I said, it's weathered rock. You've got rock coming from somewhere. It's being washed down by water and wind and streams and being carried to places. And then eventually you get to an area where the soil gets deposited. And that's going to be your fertile farmland that we're looking for. Here in Palmer, we have a lot of ponds to try to keep that soil from going away. Those retention ponds are going to catch a lot of soil. Are you laughing at the way I said Palmer?
Yes.
Yes, it was weird. I don't even know what was weird about it, but it sounded very weird. But we have a lot of ponds. They keep a lot of that soil here. They're retention ponds to retain water and soil. And that's a good thing. You don't want all your hard-worked soil going away. I don't know if we're going to watch that 30-second clip or not. It looks pretty old.
Looks like Barbie.
Hello? Yes, again. All right. Bye-bye. Anna, you're leaving.
Bye, Daddy.
Did you already know that you were leaving? Sometimes it's a surprise, sometimes it's not. So let's see. I don't know if they'll take my YouTube video down or not, but let's check it out. Oh. What? There we go.
I can't.
And now they sound.
Why? Why?
This is broken.
It's not broken.
Bro,
Time for a new board.
That would be nice if it was.
I see.
Whoa.
Okay, well, this was terrible.
It was. It was gone.
Oh, there we
as
go.
well as living organisms. This is what gives us
Watch it.
Yeah. It's another 30 seconds of your life.
You're wasting.
I'm not waiting. I'm teaching you. Teaching you.
soils are vital for the existence of many forms of life, including humans. They provide plants with a place for growth and the nutrition they need to thrive. And plants are the basis of virtually all food chains. As you watch this video, think about what is the composition of soils?
Think about it.
Soils are composed of broken up rock and organic material that have combined over thousands and millions of years. About 90% of most soils are composed of rocks and minerals that have been broken down over the years by weathering and erosion. But the key ingredients are organic material such as roots, bacteria, fungi, decaying plants and animals, as well as living organisms. This is what gives the soil its nutrition.
Yeah, you see them bugs crawling around in there? Yeah. Gives you good soil. So, this is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is pronounced humus. Is it just hummus?
I don't know what it's
Ah.
called.
Okay, I have a problem with that because hummus is what you eat and it's delicious. Humus is not what you eat. So you can call it hummus if you want. Maybe I will call it humus. Let's see. Let's see if they do they give us a pronunciation.
No. Type it in.
You might say it in the video.
Well, I can't type from here. Someone type it into Google and see what we got. Humus. I'm saying humus. I would bet stocks on it.
Sorry, I sold on one.
You're right.
Humus. Boom. Humus. Not hummus. Hummus is made of chickpeas. It's like a little dip, and you eat it with crackers or veggies. It's delicious. No, it's humus. It's humus. Like a human humus. Hummus has two M's, and it's Mediterranean. Just saying. I don't want to pass down incorrect information to y'all. It's humus. So humus is the organic part of the soil. It's made up of waste and remains of living things and once living things, including plants, animals, and bacteria. Thousands of different species of organisms inhabit the soil. Many of these organisms are decomposers, like your little bugs, your little mushrooms, all sorts of things that help break down this matter into smaller and smaller pieces. So we need those decomposers. A lot of times in a garden, if you don't have any, you want to bring them in, or you do a compost pile that kind of helps break everything down and return it down to its most base state. And then you can mix in that compost with your soil. And so remember the two different parts of soil. You got broken down weathered rocks, which are inorganic parts, and then you have your organic parts, which are called humus. Now, we get to soil horizons. And this, I don't know. Do y'all talk about soil horizons in ag? All right. I don't know if this was a thing that farmers really, well, don't say yes if you
Well,
don't
yeah,
know.
but like
All right.
not like the horizons.
Yeah, well,
Regular soil.
I know, but do they don't talk about like the different letter names like A, B,
Oh yeah, like
C,
all that.
R? They do that? All right. I don't know if this was something that farmers also use or if it's just like geologists that cut down into the ground. But yes, these are your different soil types. And note, it doesn't start at A at the top. It starts at O, then goes back to A, B, C, and then you have R down here at the bottom, or some people would just call that bedrock because it's not really a type of soil. So these are your different soil layers, and they go in order like this. You might have something missing. So like depending on what part of the world you're in or what kind of soil you have, you might have layer O, layer A, but no layer B, and so it goes directly to layer C. But in general, they will not be out of order. There might be something missing, but they go in this order all the time. And so what are different layers? What does O stand for? O stands for organic. This is going to be your top layer of mostly just dead stuff. And if you've ever like dug a hole in your yard, you got like a couple inches of just dead grass that just piles up. Even if you bag it, you're going to get a bunch of grass there. And so you're going to have to dig down a little bit before you actually get to your soil. So the top layer of dead things depends on how much stuff you have growing. You might have very little dead things on the top or a whole bunch of dead stuff on the top. But that is your top layer, is your O layer, the organic material. So you get to layer A. A is where we're going to start with our actual soil. A is your top soil, consists of tiny rock fragments and humus. Most of the organisms that live in the soil live in horizon A. Once you get down below horizon A, you get less oxygen, less water. It's going to be more difficult for your living, like not organisms like plants, but like your bugs and your decomposers to kind of live below layer A. Then you go to layer B. This is going to be the subsoil. Consists of rock fragments, minerals leached from horizon A. The B horizon contains fewer nutrients than the A horizon, and your rock fragments in the B horizon are typically larger. So if we go back to this image, you got your dead stuff, which is O. You have your actual soil, which is A, which is topsoil. If you go to like Tractor Supply or Atwoods, you can buy bags of topsoil, which is better to use in like in-ground gardens than like your actual potting soil. When you get down to B, notice you have larger chunks of rocks. So there's a lot of rock in here, a lot less minerals because you're not really getting that organic matter up top. And so some of your roots will spread down into layer B, not a whole lot of them. The vast majority of your roots stay up in layer A, up towards the surface where you have more water, more oxygen, more nutrients. Sometimes they do go down into B. It's not unheard of or impossible. Then you go down to layer C, even more rock. Bigger pieces of rock, more weathered. It's going to be stuff that has recently just kind of been pried off of your bedrock once you get down to your solid rock at the bottom. And so layer C is just going to be partially weathered bedrock. Not a lot of nutrients, not a lot of organic material, just mostly chunks of rock and some fragments from the B horizon down there. So that's kind of the order of the different horizons: O, A, B, C, and then your bedrock, which they're labeling as R. But to be honest, you might see that somewhere different. And then the last one, how and why soils differ. It basically depends on what kind of area you live in, what's added into that soil. Do we have a whole bunch of mountains around here? No. So we're not going to have a lot of different rock material. When you dig, has anybody dug a hole at their parents' house recently? What kind of rock do you eventually get to when you get down to bedrock? You get down to limestone. And so limestone is going to be a lot of the broken up rock material that you actually get to. When you dig down, you're going to end up getting white pieces of rock, big chunks of white rock. And so that is the main contributor here. A lot of our soil is going to come from actual dead things. It's your decomposed humus, which is kind of building up, mixing with that limestone rock and different erosive sediments that's going to help build up your soil. The good news is limestone is a rock made out of living things, ocean creatures. And so limestone has a higher organic content, has a higher mineral content. It's not a bad rock to kind of be around. But we're not near like a mountain range or anything, so we're not getting a whole lot of weathered rock from that. So our parent rock or bedrock is limestone. What's the topography like around here in north central Texas? Flat. Not as flat as like Kansas. If you've ever driven through Kansas or parts of Oklahoma, they get really, really flat. But we're pretty flat around here. And so the soil doesn't move around a whole lot, and when it does, it's moving around in the rivers and the streams and creeks, instead of like having a whole bunch of other ways that it moves around. So it's all about your parent rock and what else you kind of have growing on top of your soil. So soil types, and actually this is where they have the names. Let me pull up the chart, unless they have them here. They don't. But let me pull up this. We'll look at our major soil types: pedal-cow soils and pedal-fir soils. So pedal-cow soils are going to be for dry climates. You have no organic layer. So if you think about like being out in the desert area or a really, really dry area, if you've ever been to West Texas, that's the kind of area we're thinking of. There's just not a lot of things growing and dying and staying at the surface. And so your organic layer is really not existent. Your layer A, your topsoil, is very thin. And you get down to bedrock and layer B and C probably pretty quickly. And so not a lot of soil going on here. This is your pedal-cow, your dry climates. If I go back, we should see the opposite one, which is your pedal-fir soils, which are moist climates. So notice at the top here they have layer A, and you even have a pretty thick O layer for organics. You're going to have a lot of stuff living and dying at the surface, and it's going to continue to pile up and build up that organic layer. Layer A is going to be filled with a lot of humus, a lot less rock material, and it's going to take you a while to get down to the bottom of layer C, where you actually get down to your bedrock. So this is going to be a more complete soil profile. And then I think they might have had one more. Let's take a look. Would like a new board. Laterite soils, which are going to be tropical climate soils. So your humus is thin or absent, thick deposits of iron and aluminum oxides and some quartz, and then bedrock. So just a slightly different kind of soil profile, depending on what part you live in. And then real quick, let me Google this so everybody can see this. Soil naming chart, possibly. Yeah, there it is. That thing is not fun.
That looks confusing.
Can I make it bigger? Can you still read it? Yeah. All right. So this is a soil chart. This is a triangular chart. If you've never seen these, they're not super fun, because in a square chart, you know where the lines go. They either run horizontal or they run vertical. Here you have three different lines all crossing at different areas. So the idea is your soil has to be made up of three things. It's either going to be clay, silt, or sand. Those are your different like sizes of particles that can be built up into this. And so it's either clay, silt, or sand. And depending on what type of percentages you have of these, it will have different names. So if it's mostly clay, we're just going to call it a clay. If it's mostly silt, you call it a silt. If it's almost 100% sand, you call it a sand. But anything in between those is going to have some sort of combination of those names. And it gets a little bit cumbersome. Like sandy clay loam, clay loam, silty clay loam, silty clay, silty loam, loamy sand. What's the difference between loamy sand and sandy loam? How much sand and how much loam you have. And so it's not like super intuitive, but the chart does help you out. I think the hard part to remember is the numbers are going to run. Which way are they going to run? So this 10%, if I have 10% of sand, that's going to run along here, because my sand is 10 to 100%. So 90% sand or more is just going to be sand. So the sand runs this way. The silt runs that way. And then the clay runs horizontal, I believe. Yes. And so it's not too bad just looking at it, but if someone were to point and give you a data point that's like right here, how like you got to think about how to give them the percentages. And so that point right there, can I move my cursor there? Yeah. That point right there. Oh no. Well, that's disappointing. Let me go back. Yeah. So like let's say it's this one right here. That would be what? 40% sand, 30% clay, and 30% silt.
That's confusing.
Yes. And so know that there are weird charts out there that you probably won't see in your lifetime, but they do exist. Earlier this semester, we had a chart, a square chart, but it had 4 different axes that had 4 different things on it. So, yeah, but this is fun. You'll
It doesn't look fun.
you either it's fun because it's like a puzzle. It's like a triangular puzzle. But yeah, that's our clay section. So tomorrow we will do the what's it called? Y'all know by now. Constructed response. We'll do the constructed response tomorrow where you answer the questions. Wednesday, we will do the exploration. And then Thursday, you will do the practice assignment with the multiple choice questions. So if you have any questions, email me, let me know. Today was just a lecture. So thanks a lot.